20 awesome vintage photos of celebrity weddings from the 20th century. Celebrities sometimes lead wild and complicated lives, so it's perhaps no surprise that many celeb marriages are relatively short-lived. But what they lose in longevity, they make up for in glamour and excitement. For better or worse, the following vintage photos of 20 famous weddings from the 20th century capture those iconic moments when two stars tied the knot. 20. George Harrison and Pattie Boyd, 1965. Former Beatle George Harrison married Pattie Boyd at the zenith of Beatlemania, an era she subsequently described as terrifying. In a 2018 Harper's Bazaar interview with Taylor Swift, Boyd described being assaulted by female Beatles fans at a concert in London. But despite the pressures of fame, their marriage lasted 11 years. Boyd is said to have inspired both I Need You and Something by the Beatles. After divorcing Harrison, she went on to marry Eric Clapton. 19. Jane Fonda and Roger Vadim, 1965. Filmmaker Roger Vadim and actress Jane Fonda tied the knot in a glitzy ceremony at a Las Vegas hotel. However, Vadim was a notorious philanderer, and he soon pressed Fonda into indulging in his promiscuous, swinging lifestyle. Jealousy is bourgeois, he reportedly told her. He was also a gambling addict. Nonetheless, their marriage endured for 8 years, which is longer than many Hollywood unions. 18. Jacqueline Bouvier and John F. Kennedy, 1953. Although the marriage of Jacqueline Bouvier and John F. Kennedy was cut short by tragedy, their big day in 1953 was the epitome of storybook romance. Jackie wore an extravagant ivory tissue silk outfit and a bouffant skirt stitched with 50 yards of material, a fitted bodice, a lace veil, a tiara, a pearl choker and a diamond bracelet. More than 1,000 guests attended the reception, where the cake was 4 feet high. 17. Elizabeth Taylor and Conrad Hilton, 1950. Elizabeth Taylor was an archetypal serial monogamist. She married 8 times during her lifetime. At the age of 18, she wed her first husband, Conrad Nicky Hilton Jr., next in line to the Hilton Hotel's business empire. This proved to be a mistake, however, as Hilton was an abusive alcoholic. They divorced 8 months later. Taylor went on to marry Michael Wilding, Michael Todd, Eddie Fisher, Richard Burton twice, John Warner and Larry Fertenska. Aged just 42, Hilton died of a heart attack in 1969. 16. Priscilla Beaulieu and Elvis Presley, 1967. Elvis started dating Priscilla in 1959. At the time, she was just 14 years old. When they finally married in 1967, it was a relatively modest occasion. Attended by fewer than 20 people, the wedding took place in a suite at Las Vegas Aladdin Hotel. The champagne reception was attended by around 100 guests, and the centerpiece of the feast was a 5-feet-high wedding cake loaded with Bavarian cream and apricot marmalade. 15. Mary Pickford, 1920. Known as America's Sweetheart, Canadian-born Mary Pickford is remembered as an actress and studio entrepreneur. She was one of the 36 original members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts, and a co-founder of both United Artists and the Pickford Fairbanks Studio. In 1920 she married her second husband, Douglas Fairbanks, and during their honeymoon in Europe, adoring fans rioted to get near to them. They divorced in 1936 after Fairbanks had an affair with English socialite Sylvia Ashley. 14. Lindsay Rutland and Andrew Kluwer, 1973. London-based model Lindsay Rutland married Andrew Kluwer in 1973. Their marriage, like their celebrity status, didn't stand the test of time. 3 years later, Rutland started having an affair with erotic photographer Bob Carlos Clark, and she eventually left Kluwer for him. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of their brief marriage is this photo, which went viral thanks to the couple's impressive platform shoes. 13. Diana Darby and Terry Giddings, 1975. Diana Darby was an English actress who appeared several times on raucous TV sketch series The Benny Hill Show. Terry Giddings, her first husband, was a drummer who worked with English musician Georgie Fame. The couple eventually divorced, but this image of their complementary pantsuits might just last an eternity. 12. Liza Minnelli and Peter Allen, 1967. Following in the footsteps of her mother, Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli has enjoyed a distinguished career as a singer and actress. However, her personal life has perhaps been less successful. Minnelli's marriage to Australian entertainer Peter Allen fell apart after she found out he was gay. His sexuality was common knowledge, apparently, but she only learned about it on their wedding night, when she walked in on him with his male lover. Minnelli married another 3 times. 11. Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher, 1956. Despite having 2 children together, including Carrie Fisher of Star Wars fame, the marriage between Hollywood stars Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher lasted less than 4 years. They divorced after Fisher did the dirty with Elizabeth Taylor, Reynolds' then best friend. He went on to become the 4th of Taylor's 7 husbands. Reynolds, meanwhile, enjoyed a high-profile career lasting 7 decades. She died in 2016. 10. Audrey Hepburn and Mel Ferrer, 1954. Remembered for her humanitarian work as much as her acting and singing, Audrey Hepburn was a star of the golden age of Hollywood. She married actor Mel Ferrer after meeting him at a party and subsequently working with Ferrer on a theatrical production. By Hollywood standards, they had a good run. Their marriage lasted 14 years before they divorced in 1968. A year later, she married her second husband, Andrea Dotti, an Italian psychiatrist. 9. Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra, 1951. Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner had chemistry. Unable to resist each other, they started an affair when Sinatra was still hitched to Nancy Barbato. But chemistry isn't the only requirement for a successful marriage. 2 years after their wedding in 1951, their relationship descended into such tempestuous drama, including 2 pregnancies and 2 abortions, that the couple separated. They divorced a few years later in 1957, although they were rumored to still have feelings for each other. 8. Nat King Cole and Maria Hawkins Ellington, 1948. Nat King Cole married fellow jazz singer Maria Hawkins Ellington on Easter Sunday, a mere 6 days after finalizing a divorce from Nadine Robinson, his first wife. Together they had 5 children, but the couple subsequently split due to Nat's extramarital affairs. However, when the singer became ill with lung cancer, Maria cared for him until he passed away. 7. Alana Hamilton and Rod Stewart, 1979. The marriage between model Alana Hamilton and rock singer Rod Stewart lasted 5 years before ending in divorce. Naturally, Stewart's womanizing was to blame. And in 2012 Hamilton wrote about the breakup in the Huffington Post. "I thought my world was coming to an end," she recalled. Divorce is never easy, but it's even more painful when you find out your husband is having an affair with a beautiful model 15 younger than you. 6. Lulu and Maurice Gibb, 1969. Pop singer Lulu and Maurice Gibb of Bee Gees fame married a short time after meeting on the British music TV show Top of the Pops. However, Gibb had alcohol problems, and his rock and roll antics soon put a strain on their relationship. They divorced and went their separate ways in 1975. Gibb finally got sober in 1992, but 11 years later he died of a twisted intestine at the age of just 53. 5. Russ Meyer and Eddie Williams, 1970. Cult American filmmaker Russ Meyer is remembered for his racy B movies that frequently featured Amazonian women. Conservative conventions and values were the usual targets of his comedic productions. His marriage to actress Eddie Williams, who starred in Valley of the Dolls and several other of Meyer's movies, lasted until 1975. 4. Judy Garland and Vincent Minnelli, 1945. Judy Garland is best known for 2 things: her breakthrough role in The Wizard of Oz and her destructive inner demons. At the age of 23, she married her second husband, director Vincent Minnelli. But behind the scenes, she struggled with an addiction to sleeping pills and amphetamines. And after being kicked out of MGM, she suffered a nervous collapse and twice tried to kill herself. She married 3 more times after divorcing Minnelli in 1951. 3. Mia Farrow and Frank Sinatra, 1966. Actress Mia Farrow married Frank Sinatra at the age of 21. He was 29 years her senior. The ceremony took place in Las Vegas and lasted less than 5 minutes before the couple flew off to throw a lavish party in Palm Springs. Although they divorced 2 years later, Pharoah apparently never got over Sinatra. "I loved him till the day he died and beyond. He was the love of my life," she told Ireland's RTE Radio 1 in 2017. 2. Wallis Simpson and Edward, Duke of Windsor, 1937. King Edward VIII loved the American socialite Wallis Simpson so much that he gave up his throne to marry her. The relationship was controversial in the eyes of the British establishment because Simpson was twice divorced. Although their marriage lasted until Edward's death in 1972, biographer Andrew Morton depicted their union as essentially unhappy. Furthermore, the pair were rumored to be Nazi sympathizers. "She would have made a good queen," Adolf Hitler reportedly said of Simpson after they met in 1937. 1. John Lennon and Yoko Ono, 1969. John Lennon and Yoko Ono were married in a brief, functional ceremony in Gibraltar, a British territory located at the southern tip of Spain. They had originally wanted to get married on a ferry between France and the UK, but visa issues prevented it. There was no reception as such, although the couple did retire to the Hilton Hotel for a famous 7-day bed-in for peace. Lennon was murdered in New York in 1980. Thank you for watching video.